2025 NFL Draft coverage on Keon Sports is brought to you by Chatty's Pizzeria, the home of Night 2 of the Keon Sports Live NFL Draft Show on Friday, April 25th. In the heart of Bay Village, at 28611 Lake Road, this incredible pizzeria offers a full menu of food and drinks. They have everything from a casual dining experience to the romantic setting of a long-awaited date night. Their food is made on the spot with fresh ingredients and classic recipes that the entire family will enjoy. From a cozy spot in the igloo to the party room, everyone will be taken care of. Call 440-471-4485. That's 440-471-4485. Or email info@Chatty's Pizzeria for reservations for the upcoming prime rib night. North Olmsted Sportsman Club. They offer a little bit of everything that the true outdoor sportsman would enjoy. At NOSC, memberships are open to everyone from novice to master. For those just starting, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources sponsors several adult and junior programs open to the public at NOSC. Everything is provided free of charge, including equipment, ammo, and targets. Also, don't forget Ladies' Night. Find out more about one of North Olmsted's oldest and most prestigious clubs at North Olmsted Sportsman's Club. Cement Mason Local 404 Union. Whether you are an experienced journeyman or an apprentice, their doors are open for you to join the union. Current and future demand for skilled craftsmen necessitates an apprenticeship program that takes into consideration practices of one of the world's oldest trades, along with instruction in new techniques, applications, technologies, and materials. The local 404 Cement Masons Joint Apprenticeship and Training Program, JATC, supports a world-class curriculum of instruction and on-the-job training for more than 40 apprentices annually. Union Cement Mason skills are honed with the most comprehensive apprenticeship training program in the industry. And JBL Roofing and Construction, with 25 plus years of excellence in roofing and construction, this family-owned and trusted company is your first choice in roofing needs. Experience the difference with JBL Roofing and Construction. You can find out more about them at jblrc.com. Well, it is April, and that means it is NFL draft season once again. I'm Cole McDaniel, joining you here on the Keon Sports YouTube channel. I want to thank you for watching and listening to this video. If you have not already checked out the article that came before this video, make sure you go and check that out and look at my quarterback rankings all the way up to number 4. Then this video is going to cover the top 3. So before we dive into the quarterbacks, I want to take a step back and remind you, if you haven't hit the subscribe button already on this channel, make sure you do so. Turn notifications on. Over the next week and a half, I will be putting out the top 3 in my rankings at each position in this entire draft class. So a lot of content coming your way here in the next week and a half. And also the draft show, night 1, night 2, that is also coming up later this month. So if you love the NFL draft, you're in the right place. Well, if you followed along and joined me the last 2 years, I started on the defensive side of the ball, then worked my way all the way to the quarterbacks to finish. Well, I'm going back to what I did at the very beginning. I started with the quarterbacks, went to the running backs, then wide receivers and tight ends, hit all the skill position players on offense, and then went to the offensive line to round out the offense and flipped to the defensive side to finish things up. I decided to go that direction again this year. So for you fantasy football players, again, opportunity the next 4 days to pay close attention to who I think, depending upon the landing spots, of course, are the best players in your dynasty drafts as well. So dynasty rookie drafts upcoming. Make sure you take some notes and follow along. We have a lot of content to go through. But let's get things started here for the first episode of 2025 and top quarterbacks. For most analysts, most fans, most everybody who've paid attention to this quarterback class, in what is a weak quarterback class, you would think that Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, those are the consensus top two quarterbacks. Well, again, if you read the article already, you know I have Shedeur Sanders at number 4, so he does not crack my top 3. Why? He has so many talents. I see the potential of him being elite. I see the high ceiling, but I also see the potential of a lower floor. I think he could be a really good quarterback, but would he quite get the hype that he does right now if his father weren't Coach Prime? I don't know. But I think there's potential there. He's going to be the second quarterback taken in this draft. It's a matter of, will he go top 5 or will he sneak later into that top 10? He's going to go top 10 though. Needless to say, I have 2 quarterbacks above him, and of course you can also expect that the third that I'm not referencing is Cam Ward, which we'll see where he lands on this list. But 2 quarterbacks above him that I think are being undervalued right now, have a lot of potential, a lot of skill. They might not have the same ceiling as Shedeur Sanders, but they have plenty of potential to be consistent, and I don't necessarily think they have quite the same floor. But let's dive in. I'm starting with number 3. Number 3, Dillon Gabriel of Oregon. He's a really small quarterback, and being number 3 is pretty unpopular. Most people are not going to say that Dillon Gabriel should be in the top 3 of these quarterbacks in this class. Well, needless to say, I'm absolutely doing it because he shows me enough on the field to justify this ranking. The lefty is a mobile pocket passer with excellent processing skills, a high IQ, which I think is really evident with his incredible timing and anticipation on throws. Gabriel has above average arm strength combined with pinpoint touch and accuracy on his passes. He nicely drops in deep balls, and his receivers often pick up yards after the catch because he throws them into space. Despite being short, his pocket presence is fantastic. Gabriel lacks elite zip on his passes and elite escapability, but he doesn't need to be elite to be an excellent NFL quarterback. He is great at throwing outside the numbers, but at the moment he's still working on developing throwing inside the numbers. Not necessarily always comfortable. Maybe that's partially because of his height and maybe not seeing at times over the line. Not necessarily sure what it is, but I think it's something that can be worked on because he has so many other positive traits. And the way he throws to the boundary is incredible. I think he is a potential sleeper in this NFL draft. Probably going to go in the later rounds, as I'm going to touch on in a second. But I see the pocket awareness, the accuracy, the IQ, as I mentioned, all those traits before, to potentially be a very good quarterback in the league. Will he be a top 10 quarterback, top 15? I don't know, but could he become a starter that is dependable? I think there's some potential. And there's 2 lefties that he compares to. Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix Jr. Both of those 2 guys, not just comps for Dillon Gabriel because of being lefties. I think ultimately Tua is a pretty accurate quarterback. I think Penix has maybe a little bit more zip on his throws, but I think Penix has a lot of potential with the Falcons. I think you're going to see some good things from him in the near future. And Tua has some nice touch, going back to him as well, throwing the ball down the field. He oftentimes, with those speedy receivers, he's throwing them into the space and they can pick up yards after the catch. I see Dillon Gabriel probably going 5th to 7th round, so going to go on day 3 just because of his size. But he is a guy who not going to start year 1. Might not start year 2, but I could see him turning into a potential starter if injuries happen and he needs to step up, and I could see him playing well and having a very successful NFL career. My best fits for him, the Dolphins. Tua has had his issues with concussions, and it's just a matter of, can he stay healthy and remain on the field? Well, you bring in a guy like Dillon Gabriel who has similar skill set, you really don't lose much when you have to go to him. So I think that Gabriel could be the potential successor to Tua if Tua has to step away at some point if he picks up more head injuries. But I think at minimum, you have a really good backup who fits the mold. The Panthers could be an interesting one. The 49ers, I don't fully believe in Brock Purdy. I think that Dylan Gabriel has more natural skills. They're both shorter quarterbacks. They both have a little bit of scrambling ability, but they're not true runners. But I think that he could fit in very well in that scheme. If something happens, Brock Purdy goes down, he could step in. And I think ultimately he's got a higher ceiling than Brock Purdy. My wild card is the Minnesota Vikings. Likely J.J. McCarthy's going to be the guy that they go with there, but they could use a backup like Dylan Gabriel, who I think that they could trust. And I think Gabriel was more proven than J.J. McCarthy in college. So I believe in, despite that being a very young quarterback room, I believe that Gabriel could potentially put some pressure on McCarthy, which would be needed probably as he gets ready to get going in the next couple of years. At number 2, Quinn Ewers of Texas. Ewers is an incredible talent who never quite reached the level many expected in college. At times he seems stoic and lacks fire, but I think it is his calmness in the way he plays the game that it just feels like everything's just slower around Ewers. He just slows it down. He's a gunslinger with true pocket passer skills. In a clean pocket, he's extremely efficient, and his natural sidearm motion generates velocity on his passes. His ball placement is usually solid, and he manages to typically protect the football. Whenever Ewers faced adversity at Texas, he found a way to bounce back every time. Something you love from your quarterback. In the face of defensive pressure, Ewers will sometimes have some struggles, and he does lose ball speed on far throws to the outside or down the field. There have been some injury issues with Ewers, and he sometimes tends to throw to his check down options maybe a little bit too quickly, but I would rather him throwing to the check down, making something out of the play, than holding on to it too long, taking a sack. So ultimately, that's probably a good trait to have. I would have liked to have seen him transfer for one final year. I know that Texas is wanting to go to Arch Manning, so would have liked to see him, go to an Ohio State or another place where there's a ton of skill position talent. A lot of great wide receivers for him to throw to, boost his numbers, really get healthy, and that could really help his stock going into next year. But needless to say, he's not going to be the second quarterback that comes off the board by any means, but I do think he at least has the potential to be a starter for a small stretch in the NFL. My comparisons for him, Gardner Minshew and Sam Darnold. Both players who have had starting experience. They've spent time as a backup. They've had good seasons. They've had some down seasons. But at the same time, you're seeing Sam Darnold on the rise right now. He had a good year with the Minnesota Vikings until the very end. Now he gets an opportunity with the Seattle Seahawks. Gardner Minshew. He's had moments of Minshew mania where he has been phenomenal. And then there's been other times where, he has been a backup because he hasn't had the consistency. Gunslinger, though, potentially a threatening quarterback out there on the field who can throw for 300, 400 yards in a game. I see that from Ewers. My projection is 3rd to 4th round for him, going to be a day 2 pick. Probably. If not, he'll sneak into the very beginning of day 3. My best fits for him, I like him with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He would have the potential to be a starter maybe sooner with the Steelers, depending upon how their situation continues to play out. With the Jaguars, another decent fit as a backup for Trevor Lawrence, but if Trevor Lawrence goes down, he could easily stand in. The New Orleans Saints, they've had their issues with Derek Carr not looking like the guy. Ewers maybe could sit and wait for a potential Derek Carr collapse and step in, become the starter there. My wild card's the Rams. I know that Jimmy G is there and the backup for Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford's days are coming nearer and nearer to an end. Wouldn't hate Ewers learning just briefly behind Stafford and then stepping in with the Rams. And number 1, who should be the consensus number one. This is easy. Cam Ward, Miami, Florida. Ward is without a doubt the best quarterback in this class. In fact, it isn't even close. He possesses a good frame, good arm, and is always relaxed in the pocket. Ward is also a great runner, an accurate thrower with a quick release, and always manages to make plays. He's a late game threat, which makes him a closer, a skill that NFL teams love to have. Honestly, I think he can really do it all, and he's going to be excellent in the NFL immediately. Couple things that he needs to work on, like his ball security, limiting fumbles, because sometimes he's trying to make a little bit too much out of that play instead of just going down, and that ball sometimes gets ripped away. I'd like to see him improve some of his reads as a passer and prove that he has elite competitive drive. I think he's got it in him, but I think when he steps up to the next level, there's a potential of that really then shining in a different light. I think he'll be very successful for many years to come. And my comparisons to him, Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, both mobile quarterbacks, a lot of skill, comfortable moving in the pocket and escaping pressure. Ward is going to be just fine. We'll see where he lands. Probably going to be number one with the Tennessee Titans. My projections, top 3 for him. I think it would be even more safe to say top 2. I don't think if the Titans passed up on him for any reason, the Browns would miss on that and not select him. But I don't think they expect it. So needless to say, on my best fits, the Tennessee Titans, big star or big circle should go around them because the Tennessee Titans are probably the landing spot. If he gets by them, it would be the Cleveland Browns. Browns would be so fortunate to have Cam Ward, but I don't see that happening unless they made some crazy trade with the Titans and gave up some assets, and I don't think it's worth it. The New York Giants, if somehow the Titans, the Browns, they don't go for Ward, the Giants would be the next fit, and then the wild card, the Steelers. They'd love to get him, but they're not in a position to get Cam Ward. Well, that does it for the quarterbacks. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Next time, tomorrow, make sure you pay attention to the running backs, top 3 coming up, and this is a great running back class, so I'm going to be really excited to share that one with you.